Alright children, now we go to the next topic. This is basically the practical example of capillarities. Okay, now in the last YouTube video you learn in details about capillarities. Okay, but this capillarity, the phenomenon of capillarities can be observed in our day-to-day life. Means there are some practical example of capillarities. Okay, so there are many practical examples, but let me just highlight some important examples. Okay, now in daily life we see several examples of these capillarities. Okay, so one of the example, let me just add out here, is number one is the kerosene oil in lantern and even the melted wax that we see in candle. Okay, rise in what? Capillaries. Okay, formed in the cotton wick and burns. Now this candle, okay, and the lantern, okay, consists of this cotton wicks, okay, and this cotton wicks continuously burn, okay, is due to the what? This oil, kerosene oil and the melted wax continuously rise in a very small fine hole, which are called capillaries, in this cotton wicks, and due to this continuous rise of this kerosene oil and melted wax, so there is a continuous burn of what? This cotton wick in what? Lantern and what? And the candle. And due to this, what happened? The kerosene oil helps the lantern to give what? Light by the burning of this cotton wick. Okay, continuous burn of cotton wick. And similarly, there is a continuous burn of candle is due to the what? And due to the what? The melted wax, which also rise in capillaries. So capillaries, as you know, is a very fine, like thin, like hair, like fine pores. Okay, just like a tube. Okay, where the melted wax and even the kerosene oil can pass through. Okay, and these are it forms like a liquid, so that this due to this capillaries which is formed, and this cotton wicks continuously burn. Okay, so this is number one application or example I can simply call as example of capillarity. Now we have number two example, blotting paper. As you know, blotting paper have a very small okay, fine boards like hole. Okay, these are called capillaries. Okay, and this blotting paper usually soaks ink. Okay, when it is immersed in that ink. Okay, so when blotting paper immersed in the ink, then blotting paper soaks ink by what action again? Capillary action only. Okay, so this is also one of the example of capillarity. Sorry. Now this is number two. Now we have number three also. Coffee powder is easily soluble in water. Okay, so easily soluble in what? Water. Why? Because of the water immediately wet the fine granule of coffee. Okay, and due to this, this water, okay, passed through the fine granules of coffee and by the action of capillarities. Okay, and due to that, this coffee powder, when it put in a water, okay, can easily what? Soluble in water. Okay, so this is also the example of what? Capillarity. So when coffee powder is easily put in a water, okay, as I said, it is easily soluble in water. Okay, where this coffee powder made of very fine granules, small granules. Okay, but water immediately wet the granules by the action of what? Capillarities, and it makes to soluble in water. So this is also one of the example of what? Capillarities. Now next example, that is number 4 example, is also there due to capillarities, and this is basically with the writing nib. Okay, so the writing nib, if you see, there is always a splitted part. The nib is always splitted, okay, at the middle. Okay, so why the writing nib is splitted in the middle? So that the fine capillary which is always formed between the splitted part of the nib. Okay, and this capillary which is formed, which helps the ink to rise into the capillaries. Okay, so that ink will pass into the piston. Okay, and it will fill up the piston, and the pressure which pull the what? Ink up to that piston. Okay, which makes the ink to fill in that piston. Okay, and when we start writing on the paper, okay, so we can easily write it down. Okay, but the nib is always splitted part, as I said, is due to the what? In order to fill the ink into the in order to make the ink to pass through this nib, and this nib finds like act like a what? Fine capillaries. Okay, and due to this, what happened? The ink will easily pass through these fine capillaries and fill the pen with the ink. Okay, so this is also one of the example of capillarities. But as I said already, there are many other example of capillarities, okay, in our day-to-day life. So you can go through it also. But these are the most common and important example of capillarities in day-to-day life. Now, in the next YouTube video, children, we learn one of the topic called surface energy of the liquid, and the relation that we also derive, the relation between surface tension and work done in increasing surface area. And that we learn in the next YouTube video.